storm had turned the entire town into a frozen wasteland. Trees bowed under the weight of ice, power lines hung lifeless, and even the air seemed to whisper despair. It was the kind of night no one should have been out in, a night where the cold didn't just sting, it bit through layers of flesh and bone. Yet through the howling wind and swirling snow, a small figure trudged along the edge of an empty country road. A little girl named Lily, no more than 10, her red scarf whipping wildly behind her. She had been walking home from her grandmother's, clutching a loaf of bread under her coat to keep it warm. That's when she saw him. A man collapsed beside a motorcycle, half buried in snow, motionless. Lily froze. The man looked terrifying at first glance. Big, bearded, his arms covered in tattoos, a leather jacket with a skull-wing emblem across the back that read, Hell's Angels. His bike was twisted against a tree, headlight flickering weakly. Snow had started to cover his face, his lips blue, his skin pale. For a second, fear told her to run. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, stay away from strangers, especially those biker men. But then another voice, softer and stronger, whispered something else. He'll die if you walk away. Before continuing, if you believe in kindness, compassion, and the power of second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Every bit of support helps spread more stories that restore faith in humanity. Lily dropped to her knees beside the man. His hand was cold and stiff, but she felt a faint pulse. She didn't think, she just acted. She dragged the man's arm over her small shoulders and tugged with everything she had. Inch by inch, foot by foot, she pulled him toward her house at the edge of the woods. The wind slapped her face, tears froze on her cheeks, and her boots filled with snow. It took nearly half an hour to drag him across the yard and through the front door, collapsing inside with him. Her mother, Anna, gasped when she saw them. Her little girl soaked and trembling, dragging a full-grown biker across the floor. "Lily, what in God's name?" she cried. But when she saw the man's face, pale as death, she ran for blankets instead of questions. They wrapped him, stoked the fire, rubbed his hands, and called the only doctor who lived nearby, an old retired vet who came with a medical bag and a heart full of grumbles. The man's name, they learned, was Jack Turner. He had been riding through town when a deer ran out in front of him, and the icy road had done the rest. He'd been lying there for hours before Lily found him. If she'd come even 10 minutes later, he wouldn't have made it. For 2 days, Jack drifted between fever and frostbite, half conscious, half lost. When he finally opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was Lily sitting beside the fire, reading a children's book aloud. Just her voice, soft and warm, filling the silence of the small wooden cabin. He tried to speak but could barely whisper. You saved me," he croaked, his voice rough as gravel. Lily smiled shyly and said, "You were freezing. Mum says good people help when they can." Jack didn't reply. His eyes filled with something he hadn't felt in years. Gratitude, maybe, or disbelief that someone so small had carried so much courage. He'd been called many things in his life. A thug, a criminal, a lost cause, but never worth saving. Over the next few days, Jack stayed with them as the storm raged on. Anna was cautious at first, keeping her distance, but she saw the way he helped chop firewood despite his bandaged hands, the way he fixed the loose latch on their window without being asked, and how he always made sure Lily ate first at dinner. He spoke little of his life, only saying that the road had been his home for years, that he was riding to forget. Lily asked what he meant by that once, and he just looked at the fire and said, "Some of us carry ghosts that never stop. Riding with us, sweetheart." She didn't fully understand, but she reached out and took his hand anyway. That small gesture, innocent, pure, broke something inside him. He hadn't been touched with kindness in decades. When the power finally came back on and the roads cleared, Jack knew it was time to go. His bike was repaired enough to run, and he promised to return someday to thank them proper. Before he left, he took off his leather jacket, the same one with the Hells Angels patch, and handed Lily a small silver ring from his finger. "Keep this," he said quietly. "It's my lucky charm. You saved me, kid. I owe you more than I can ever repay." Anna was uneasy seeing him ride off, the roar of his motorcycle fading into the cold morning air. But she couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, they'd done something good, something that would ripple beyond what they could see. 2 days passed, then 3. Life went on as usual. Lily went to school, Anna worked double shifts at the diner, and the snow began to melt. But one morning, just as the sun crept over the horizon, a low rumble began in the distance. At first it sounded like thunder, deep, steady, rolling through the hills. Then it grew louder. The dishes in the cabinet rattled, the windows trembled. Anna rushed outside, heart pounding. What she saw made her knees buckle. Down the long, winding road leading to their house, motorcycles stretched as far as the eye could see. Hundreds, then thousands of them lined up in perfect formation. The roar of engines filled the air, powerful and synchronized like a storm of steel and chrome. And leading them, wearing a new leather jacket, was Jack Turner. He parked in front of the small wooden house, his boots crunching on the gravel as he removed his helmet. Behind him, nearly 2,000 Hell's Angels had come to a stop, a sea of leather vests, roaring bikes, and rough faces softened by something unexpected: respect. Anna rushed to the porch, her heart racing. With confusion and fear, "Jack, what is this?" she asked. Jack smiled, eyes shining under the morning light. "You and your little girl showed me what mercy looks like," he said. "These men, they're my brothers. Some of them haven't felt kindness in their whole damn lives. So I told them your story. I told them a little girl with a heart of gold saved one of their own when the world would have left him to die, and they wanted to say thank you." Lily peeked from behind her mother, eyes wide as saucers. The bikers began unloading boxes, food, toys, blankets, and even repair supplies for their old cabin. They brought new tires for Anna's broken-down car, fixed the leaky roof, and filled their pantry with more food than it had ever held. One by one, the bikers shook Lily's hand, calling her Angel Lily. Some of the toughest men in America had tears in their eyes as they knelt to thank her. A massive tattooed biker named Skull handed her a leather jacket, custom-made with a white feather stitched on the back, a symbol of the pure-hearted angel who'd saved one of their own. Reporters caught wind of it within hours. Cameras showed up, news vans lined the street, and the story of the little girl who helped a Hell's Angel spread across the country. Strangers donated money to the family. The diner Anna worked at was flooded with customers, and people began sending letters from all over the world, letters filled with gratitude, hope, and tears. But beyond all the media attention and headlines, something deeper had changed. Jack and his brothers stayed for 2 days, repairing, laughing, and sharing meals. They made snowmen with Lily, told her stories of their travels, and promised to check in every year. Before they left, Jack knelt beside Lily and said, "You saved my life, kiddo. But more than that, you reminded us what it means to be human again." When the last motorcycle rode away, the road shimmered with sunlight, the sound fading into the distance like the echo of a promise. Lily stood on the porch, clutching her silver ring, her eyes bright with pride. She didn't know it, but that small act of courage had changed thousands of lives. Jack later wrote to them often, telling how many of his brothers had turned their lives around, volunteering at shelters and helping veterans, all because one little girl refused to walk past a dying man in the snow. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that no kindness is ever too small to change the world. Before we end, here's a special request. Comment Angel Lily below if you believe that compassion can heal even the coldest hearts. That winter, a miracle had happened. Not of wealth or fame, but of humanity. One little girl's courage thawed the frozen heart of a man, and in doing so, she warmed the souls of 2,000 others. And maybe that's the kind of miracle this world still needs. One act of kindness, one spark of love, that reminds us we're all still worth saving.